So in this episode, we're going to utilize the Kapex and its repeatable accuracy to break down the longer rip material to smaller sub-assembly pieces. Let's get to it. For doing all my crosscuts, I'm going to be using the Kapex KS120. The reason I'm choosing the Kapex is because it's fast and it's efficient, along with the dust extraction. With the extensions on here, I can set stops on my extensions right to the dimension that I want. I've already calibrated these to the Kapex itself, so I know that that's going to be exactly the dimension I want. I don't have to pull out a tape measure, a pencil. Anytime I do that, there's more chance of me messing up and causing mistakes. You could definitely use other methods to do crosscuts. You could use the MFT with the TS55 and set up the crosscut station that way. Today I'm just choosing to use the Kapex. So the first pieces I'm going to cut are the table legs. I need 8 pieces at 18 3/4 of an inch. So what I can do is set my flag stop now. Just flip that down, set it 18 3/4 of an inch. I'm ready to go. So on this first cut of this board, I want to make sure that this end is perfectly square to both my sides. I know they're both parallel because I ripped them on the parallel guides. So I'm just going to flip my flag stop up out of the way and use that as a reference. And I'm going to run this board just a little bit longer, utilize my clamp, lock it into place. If you want to learn more about the Kapex, you can go to Festool USA's YouTube channel and find several videos on how to set it up there. Once that's cut to rough length, all I have to do is just flip the small piece around, put my flag stop down, bump that into place, clamp it into place. Then it's just a simple matter of sliding my bigger piece through, utilizing my stop, and making 7 other pieces the exact same length. There's no measuring involved, I'm just utilizing the stops on the Kapex. So the next pieces I'm going to cut are the frames for the tabletop. Those are going to be a different length. Something that I do a lot of times with the extensions on the Kapex is you have 2 of these flag stops. So if I'm going to be cutting a lot of pieces for a couple different tables, I can leave my one flag stop set at whatever dimension I'm cutting my legs at, and then for the picture frame, I can just simply add another flag stop, set it at whatever dimension I need. Now I can just go back and forth between the 2 flag stops. I don't have to just keep switching my flag stops. Keeps it much more accurate and much more consistent. So for the frame of the tabletop, I'm not going to cut them to exact lengths. I'm just going to get a rough length because when I go to fit everything together, then I'll be able to get my exact width and exact dimensions. Now I've got all our pieces cut for the tabletop. We've got our table legs, we've got our slats for the tabletop, we've got our picture frame for the tabletop, and then we also have our apron for underneath the tabletop. So the next step in the process is going to be the picture frame or the frame around the outside. So the first thing I need to do is cut a 45 on one end of all of my pieces. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the laser on, that way I can see where my blade is. Tip it over to 45, make sure I lock it into place, And then I just get as close to the end as possible. So once I've got it clamped into place, I can go and make the cut. Once I have the 45 cut on one end, I can come back, I can set my flag stop, and I want it to be 21 5/8, and that's going to be from the long point of the miter to the other long point of the miter. By using that flag stop, once I cut one, they're all going to be exactly the same, which will make sure that my frame is perfectly square. Now with all of them cut, I know they're exactly the same length, which is going to make sure that my tabletop frame is perfectly square. To continue the build video, click here or check this out. And don't forget to subscribe.